pretty sure I pre-recorded this next segment. Am I mistaken? I am mistaken. I'm 62. Our next case is still being adjudicated, so we don't have the body cam footage or crime scene pictures to share with you and put you in the moment of a terrifying shootout. Which one of our next top cops described as something out of a horror show? Instead, what we have is a story that I guarantee will pull at your heartstrings and give the timeless phrase, "till death do us part," a whole new meaning. The date was August 5th, 2023. The place, Lafayette, Louisiana. At around 2:30 that morning, a 911 call came in from a woman stating her neighbors, a man and a woman with little children, were arguing loudly. Calls like this are not uncommon for the Lafayette PD, and police officer Haley Bradford, who'd been doing paperwork at the time and who wasn't being dispatched to the call, decided to respond to it anyway. It's just who she is. Officers Raynard Ford and Alan Cortez also responded. These three officers converged on the scene at the same time, with Officer Haley Bradford taking point, given the fact she was the most senior officer.
It wasn't a weapons call or anything like that when we came out. We had lethal and then we had less lethal. And unfortunately, I had a taser at the time.
We heard the verbal argument occurring from the outside of the residence.
And then we could hear the man beating the woman.
Raynard Ford then began knocking on the door loudly. He stated that, we were Lafayette Police Department.
They wouldn't open the door.
Ford pretty much had to kick that door completely off the hinges.
We forced entry into the house.
So myself and Ford, we entered with our guns drawn.
We started hearing a child scream, which we did not know that there were any children in the house. Ford, who started grabbing the child, I saw the front end of a rifle coming from the back bedroom.
And he starts just dumping rounds into the whole house. He knew the two toddlers were in there.
And literally the only thing that I could think was, oh shit.
I don't even remember his face. That's how fast it was.
And when I moved to get away from, the spot that I was in, I was the first person to be shot.
So as he starts shooting, I start shooting back.
I got shot in the right butt cheek, and I was immediately paralyzed from the waist down. And so I crawled out of the house, literally just by using my hands.
I kept shooting until he wasn't in the same room with us anymore.
He stayed in to save my life, because if he would not have stayed in the house and kept firing at the suspect, it would not have given me time to crawl out.
Okay, you need to try to find cover behind one of the vehicles that was in the driveway, and then you need to hold cover back on that door in case he starts shooting again. While I was in the driveway, turning around, trying to shoot a couple rounds back where he was shooting at me, I got shot. I got shot in the bottom of my left foot and my left butt cheek. I got behind one of the vehicles in that driveway. And at that point is whenever I got on the radio.
And all of a sudden we heard shots fired over the radio. Code 1, which means also down for us.
When I hear where the address is, I realize that it's not too far from where I'm at, and it's also the same area that my wife works, precinct 4. So I started heading that direction.
Officer Ford, he grabbed me by my vest and he started pulling me through the yard, knowing that the suspect was still inside, he was still armed.
And as we run on the corner, I see Officer Ford dragging my wife out of the yard. And drops her to the sidewalk, and then she's kind of like, she's lifeless.
I could feel my body trying to shut down and essentially die.
She's barely breathing. We pick her up. We put her in the back of the unit, back of Adam's unit. And I jump behind the wheel.
She's pale, like white like a ghost, lips are blue, and she's, you know, in and out. And so I slapped her across the face as hard as I could. She kind of wakes up and she gave me that wife look.
And the only two words that I could get out of my mouth was my stomach and my ass.
And when she said that, I was like that's a weird combo. So I rolled her on her left to her left side, and I pulled her pants down. And when I did that, because it was a 223 round, it's such a small entry wound. It had actually already clotted, so she wasn't actively, you know, bleeding. But when I did that, it broke the blood clot, and I saw a little bit of blood come out. And that's when I knew that there was just massive internal trauma. And Officer Morvan drives like a NASCAR driver.
I knew that this was the most important problem in my life.
I knew that if I closed my eyes, that was it. I would, you know, I'd be done. Seeing Adam, it made me fight to stay alive. I didn't want to leave him. You know, we just got married 3 weeks prior. When we arrived to the hospital, he threw me over his shoulders, brought me into the ER.
My mother died at the very young age of 55 a few years ago. So, you know, naturally I'm thinking, I found the best thing in my life, the only person that's ever loved me the way my mother did, and if I'm about to lose that, you know, very quickly.
I truly believe that if it wasn't Adam that was there with me, that I wouldn't have made it. Like I would have died.
I was so glad to be taking care of her because, you know, my wife is still here.
SWAT team members, including Corporal Maverick Morvan, quickly entered the house. There they found the shooter, John Nichols, alive but injured, having been shot several times by Officers Alan Cortez and Raynard Ford when they returned fire. Tragically, however, one of the small children inside the house was dead, and Nichols is now facing murder charges in addition to the multiple charges he faces in firing upon the officers that night. Officer Alan Cortez hopes to be back on active duty shortly, and Officer Haley Bradford continues to slowly recover. Her fellow top cop and husband Adam, there by her side. He's been